Friends, I have missed every single one of you so much. Welcome to Zona Live, presented by Trokar. And you know what? Before we kick the party off, we have found them and done work this morning. You'll see all of that. Let me show you a little friend we just found right here. You see that little guy right there on my Mega 360? Let's just see. Let's see if he wants to start the show today. If you like sight fishing, today could be one of the most amazing days on planet Earth. It is so good to be back. Welcome to Zona Live. Oh, yes. And here's the thing, friends. There are hundreds of them crawling. Again, welcome to Zona Live, presented by Trokar.
You're watching Zona Live.
Let's get the party started.
Presented by Trokar. Absolutely the world's sharpest fish hooks.
Friends, it's been a long layoff. It definitely has. It's been weird times indeed. Let me introduce the camera boat. Vandy, EK, Wes in the back, all the folks back at JM. And here's the interesting thing, the biggest interesting thing, practicing social distancing. We've got Ron Moore, in studio with us this week. Ron, can you hear me? I cannot see you, Ron.
It's very scary not to be able to see you, Z, but I'm very excited to be in Little Rock, watching Zona Live with the fans, but also interacting, sending you questions, getting them involved, because there are some prizes up for grabs today. They got the Trokar prize packs, obviously this Zona Live presented by Trokar, also Zona prize packs, and it's going to be a fun 3 hours of informative, entertaining fishing. And I've been to where you're at right now, and I'm excited.
Yeah, young Ron, it's gone down. What's interesting is, let's talk real quick. Let's kind of get everybody dialed in here. We've had a horrible spring. It's been like the coldest. It's been a horrible spring in many ways, I could say. You all know that. It's been so bad up here. What's interesting is I taped with Keith Combs earlier this week, and we never ever saw the sun. The water temps were kind of that 45 to 50 degrees, and the sun popped yesterday, and Wes Miller and we were actually out on Lake Michigan and found a bunch of deep ones. I said, man, as sunny as it's getting, let's see if those cockroaches start crawling up on the gravel flats on a little public lake that I fish. And we came here yesterday, this is no joke, gang, we came here at about 10:30 and crushed them. Here's going to be the whole setup. You ready? Strike King half shell, color siren, little number 2 Trokar drop shot hook, Seagar 15-pound braid to an 8-pound leader. Go. And one of the things is when we made, oh my gosh, I mean, so what I do is I cast to the back of that bed, okay? And when you throw to the back of those beds, and now look, I know some of you don't sight fish, but trust me, it's one of the most fun things to do it's just a little dude. One of the most fun things to do, smallmouth fishing, because if you have done this, they're not very bright. Oh, he's ready. Okay. But what's cool is, those are just little dudes. We saw some yesterday that by the time we were leaving here, we were leaving this little lake, there's going to be 2 different kinds of spawners today, okay? There's going to be fish that are spawning on gravel and shells, and there's going to be really big ones spawning in reeds, okay? And what I'm going to do is throughout every one of them, some of them we're going to try to get really close to. We did that this morning. We're not going to throw to that footage yet, but we got some footage where you could like literally get right next to them. But what happens is, like literally 10 days ago, camera boat driver Vandy and myself, we were up here and there was snow piles. And it started to warm just a little bit, and then they just started crawling on these flats. I mean, crawling. And yesterday, like, I really thought that this Zona Live was gonna be 110%. We're throwing a jerk bait, we're cracking a tube, and we were gonna do it at a different lake. But when I saw this sun yesterday, and what I think, this is the first time I think doing a Zona Live, it's gonna get better and better and better for the next 3 hours. And I think we're gonna catch some absolute, I mean, melon heads. I got three, oh, gang. I mean, get ready. Biggin, 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 biggin. All right, so what I do with this, the reason I throw that siren half shell, okay, is I can see it, but most of all, they can see it from a mile. That's a nice one. And what I do is launch past their bed. He's a big, big black one. See him way out there? Okay. I'm way behind his bed. I want him to go back to the bed and settle down. Like right now, he's a little squirrely. He's actually coming towards us to visit. That's not good. Okay. But what he'll do is he'll make a wide circle, and then he's going to get comfortable with us. And then we're going to start sassing with him. But generally, here he comes. Oh, no, 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 no. That's a nice one. But a lot of these, you'll say, wow, that's a big female right there, and that's actually not the case. Oh, he swung at it. He swung at it. These are real big old males. He's just off the right-hand side. That's a nice one. Yeah, he's loose. And that's the one thing that we noticed this morning. There's some fish that are really, really locked on. And then there's some like this one that are, here he comes. We might save him for later. Let me just see if he'll eat something else real quick. That little Z2 right there does some work on him. See, he's making, and that's one of the things on these smallmouth is knowing, like by 11 o'clock or 11:30, that fish right there will totally pin down and never leave that moon crater. See, he's making real wide turns. I don't really like that. He might play. Hold on. That's a good one. That's a good one. But all those big males are waiting. Yeah, let's move up a little more. He's not ready yet. All those big males are doing is waiting for females to come in. And what's different about smallmouth compared to like largemouth, you go down, look at him right there. Hi there. Oh, yes, sir. Okay, we got another one right out here. We got two actually. I'm gonna lock down right there, Wes. There's another one. They've made more since last night. So you're gonna throw past the bed, okay? And you're gonna bring it right into his face. He hit it. He hit it. But generally, and you're going to see this today, generally where they really want to bite it is when you're coming into the nest, okay? So I'm going to drop it like 5 feet back. I'm going to let him get set up. Okay, there he is. He's looking. See, he's not pinned up yet real good. He was right on my, here he comes. But that little snap is what a lot of time gets him going. There he is. Gosh, darn it. So when you come into that bed, so I got it 5 feet behind that bed right now. The fish is off to the right. Bandy, is that one to the right too? Yeah, there's one on that. Is there? Okay. So I'm way behind, and one of the things that ignites him is just snapping it, popping that. He's a player. Gosh, darn it. Uh-huh. So here's what we're dealing with. I got a little 1/4 ounce weight on there. Little 1/4 ounce weight, a number 2 Trokar hook. By the way, real quick for everybody at home, we're going to be giving away some goods. You heard Ron Moore. Whatever we're using on this show, whether it be Trokar or Strike King, we're going to send it to, I think, 2 or 3 winners. He's bit almost every cast. Oh, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. He's coming back in. He's coming back in. Got him. Nice. Not the size we're going to be hunting today, though. But you're going to see 2 or 3 different techniques catching these guys. This little chub. Little guy. Like fish like that, we talked about this earlier. We got out here at about 8 o'clock, and they're loose. They're real loose in the morning, right? And then as the day goes on, is it a big one?
I can't tell.
Stand by.
They can pay though.
Oh, I will. They get, no, it's a grass strip. They get real loose in the mornings from the cold night. Here we go. Player. Big black mamba. So I just threw it way past that fish's bed. And what I'm going to do is let him settle. He made a real wide swing. Got him. Uh-huh. Wow. Look at him. Okay. Biggin. See how red their eyes get this time of year? You'll see those red eyes for like another 2 or 3 weeks. Nice one right there, huh? There's some bigger ones coming. But right there, like, you get a really good look at what one of those beds looks like close up. Just a giant moon crater.
Z, you mentioned it. Trokar, Strike King, your own Zona prize packs to give away to fans today. So make sure you send in your questions using hashtag ZonaLive, #sweepstakes. You don't have to get your question answered by Z on the live stream today to be entered to win. As long as you follow the guidelines on Bassmaster.com with the sweepstakes prizes, you are entered to win. Ask a question on his Facebook, Bassmaster's Facebook, and throughout Twitter and whatnot. So it'll be a fun 3 hours of fishing today, 10 a.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be on Facebook for the next couple minutes, and then we'll transition over to Bassmaster.com. So get your questions in. We'll get Z to answer them throughout the 3 hours. Z, are you going to be comfortable before we get off Facebook if I throw you 2 or 3 questions to tease the fans?
Ronnie, you can fire questions all day. You don't understand how much we all miss you today, Ron.
Well, I know it's dangerous giving me an open mic for 3 straight hours, but I promise I'll be on my mind my P's and Q's today, and we'll have a good time. But you've obviously already entertained a lot of the Facebook fans who are tuned in watching, so it's going to be a great 3 hours. And Z, I'm going to just go ahead and ask you some of the details that fans might have missed when you opened the show. What is the water temp in Michigan right now? What are you dealing with for these sight fish?
You know what's weird, Ronnie, and this is, Vandy and I really talked about it. We talked about it, you know, where we wanted to do the live, and it's 57 degrees right now. And here's something I'm going to tell you, always pay attention to on spawners, especially smallmouth. They want light right now more than they want water temp, okay? They want to be up there so badly. I used to live by, like, oh, it needs to be 60 to 65 degrees. That is absolutely not the case. If you've got solid 55-degree water, they're going to get there. They're going to get there. There's one right there. Careful. That might be that big one. Ronnie, you can keep firing.
Z, on Bassmaster's Facebook, Terrell Wallace wanted to know, what's the best line for Wacky rigs? Obviously, you have a little small drop shot set up there, but it's probably something similar to what you would throw with a Wacky rig in the springtime.
You know, it's exactly the same, the exact same setup. What I throw is 15-pound Seagar Smackdown in the flash green, to an 8 to 10-pound Seagar Abrazex leader. And the reason I use that Abrazex, it doesn't nick up real bad. You know, it's very, like, you can come through zebra oh, something's fixing to happen, gang. But it's really the same exact setup as I'm using right here.
I've got a softball question from Dan McDonald on your own Facebook, and it's a perfect segue there from the cameraman right there. How has the Mega 360 changed the way you fish? I got a little taste of it in the pre-show seeing it, so bed fishing Mega 360.
Ronnie, I'm dead serious. This is not a sales pitch. Wes was in the boat today, and biggin. Oh yeah. Wes was in the boat today, and we got out here, and you could literally see, that's a nice one. You could see fish like this literally sitting in the middle of their beds. But to me, gosh, dude, I mean, where I think it's going to be a game changer is we have a lot of beds, you know, lakes, where they'll spawn really deep. Like, they'll spawn 12 to 25 feet of water, okay? And you don't need to use the flogger, the cone, anything. You could just literally go around like we are right here. Like, that fish right there came right off this. That fish came right off that bed, right there. And see, look here, look. There's a fish on a bed right there. But what's amazing to me about it, I mean, something's gonna happen, is like we shot a show before the lockdown in Michigan, and we were on St. Clair, and we were marking individual pieces of wood that you could literally, you'd look at it and go, Wes, get ready on this cast. Dude, that's not stuff we would do before. Like, we've never been able to do that. And the original 360, which was good, a lot of times you couldn't make out the detail that you can make out on this. I mean, I've caught individual fish on camera taping the last month that we would call it before we'd catch it, where you're like, there's 2 or 3 right there sitting on a rock or sitting on a tree, stuff like that.
Z, you're obviously throwing basically a straight chartreuse half shell there for spawning smallmouth. Is that your go-to? Because we often see whites down south and a lot more natural colors. What are your maybe 2 or 3 go-to spawning colors for smallmouth?
Man, Ronnie, that's a great question. You fished with me. To me, that right there is the most killer smallmouth sight fishing bait that I've ever used. I don't know if it just makes them mad or what it is, but it's something that color, I used to use it in a tube, and they make it in a coffee tube. I used to use it in a tube a lot, and I actually got one tied on for today. Hey. I think that was the big one right there. We might have to revisit him. But what's amazing about that siren color is they will charge it to get it, to kill it, to where, and don't get me wrong, like they'll eat green pumpkin, they'll eat anything. They're not the sharpest tools in the shed. But there's something about that siren color that makes them just go crazy. Yeah, he's not ready yet. We got to come back to that one. You can keep going, Ron. I got you.
Troy Calloway from the Bassmaster live stream on Facebook right now is asking, how much is water clarity affecting your boat position on these spawners? Do you have to stay farther away, or that slight ripple help you get closer?
Awesome question. Love that question, to be honest with you. What I'm seeing more than any, who was that, Floyd Calloway?
Troy Calloway.
You see that fish right there? Troy Calloway. That's a really good question. When they first start, like they're just starting right now. Did he get it, Wes? Yeah. Gosh. Came back to it. Yeah, this one's going to bite, Ron. I'm dedicating this one to Troy Calloway. Here he is. Biggin. Wow. When they first get to their beds, they're a little bit jumpy, okay? And they don't like you getting real close to them. Look at his eyes. Oh, having a time, T-I-M-E. I mean, good one. That fish is for Troy. How about that one right there, dog? Right? You kind of have to, each one of them, that's a big one. Each one of them has like a personality of their own. How about that? We're going to do some work today, guys. I let kind of all of them, like even since this started, a half hour ago, I've noticed they're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So in the mornings, I like to be off of them a lot. And as the day goes on, is when I'll start creeping closer. We got company.
This is one of my favorite questions we've had on Zona Live, and it's from former Elite Series pro David Williams. Said, if Ronnie was a bass on a bed, what would you catch me on first cast? I feel like the leftover piece of a worm, maybe.
I'll be dead honest for David Williams. Ronnie throws a chatterbait about 99% of the time. I feel like Ronnie would eat a bladed jig like a thunder cricket just laying on the bottom. Okay. Let's keep moving. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, Ronnie, no joke. We've got some stretches. We've got some stretches in the next hour and a half that I really think are going to be absolutely incredible, like incredible. Boat out here coming to get some. But like all these fish we're catching right here, all of these fish are gravel roaches, to where they get up on this gravel and they'll make them traditional panned out beds. Like here's one right here. Like I could see this one. What happens is, check this out. It gets like a halo. It gets like a halo around where he's panned out, okay? To where you're throwing in the actual turquoise part of that bed, but that halo gives it away. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Something happened there, guys. Big, big, big. And that's one of the biggest keys to learning. Like a lot of times when you're, sight fishing for largemouth, you're constantly dropping your bait right in the bed. One of the biggest things that I've done with smallmouth is I'll launch, gosh, that is a dandy, man. Stay hooked. Wow. One of the things that I taught my boys to do, and whenever I have somebody's in the boat, is just throw past it like 20 feet, okay? And then when you bring it right to the back side of the bed, you let him set back up, and then you just pop it. You sit there and pop your rod. I'm begging. Oh my gosh. Doop. Nice ones. Really nice ones. And that's the whole key is knowing, like that one right there kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. Going back to, I don't know if it was Troy that asked this question. I'm kind of bouncing all over right now because I'm jacked out of my mind. I've had a 5-hour already. Huh? No, this is for the boat control one. Is the power poles let you completely stop before you get to these, which is, where you can lock down and not jump them. A lot of times when I started doing this, you'd get on them, you blow them out with your trolling motor, but to be able to lock right down, I think I see one. To lock right down. But what I'm seeing here's what I'm seeing this morning on boat control. The farther I can stay off of them, the more apt they are to biting in the first five seconds that bait comes in their bed.
Z, I'm going to ask you one last question.
Quick. Ronnie, go ahead. You got any questions?
Before we go to break, or before we go to Bassmaster.com, Roger Gibson wanted to know, and you were talking about the approach, what's the importance of the distance between the hook and the weight on your drop shot? That distance, do you vary it, or is it going to be pretty normal for bed fishing this time of year?
Hold on, Ronnie. We got a new one right here. Generally, I want it to be, generally, I want it to be about 8 inches to 12 inches. This is no joke. There are so many more beds since yesterday. What they did overnight is unbelievable. 8 inches to 12 inches and you're fine. You don't want it, you really just don't want it too long. You know, you don't want it 18 to 20 inches. If you're right at around, 10 to 12 inches, you're perfect. See, I got to hurry there, Ronnie. I got a real big one coming up.
This would be a great time to jump in and say, hey, for folks joining us on Facebook right now and Twitter, hop over to Bassmaster.com right there and feature one of the homepage. You can see the Watch Zona Live deal. Watch us the next 3 hours or so. Send in your questions using hashtag Zona Live and hashtag sweepstakes. Be entered to win all kinds of Trokar prizes, Zona prizes, and all the goodies that he's using on today's show. He's having a great time in Michigan. We are too. So we're going to say bye on Facebook. Join us on Bassmaster.com, and we'll have just as much fun there until 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hey, Ronnie, I've got a question for you. Viewer question from Mark in Michigan.
Shoot, Z.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get the Elite Series started again?
I am. I have been going nuts for the 3 months. But hey, I will say this. I've loved sitting here at this desk. It's going to be weird sitting over at that desk, but I've enjoyed talking with our Elite Series pros over Skype and connecting with them, getting some of their vibes on the break. But I'm really looking forward to it. We had a lot of lakes set up that we could hit 100 pounds on at the beginning of the season that we thought. Some of that might not work out, but I'm really excited to see that 4-event smallmouth swing and all of those southern lakes in the fall. I think that's a twist that we've never seen before in the Elite Series, and it should be fun.
I think that's one of the probably things I'm most excited about this year is to have tournaments not in the traditional times that we've had them. But I think there's a mamba in here. I think we got a mamba alert. And I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but we've had, throughout the years, we've had so many March, April, May time frame tournaments. You lose that traditional fall bite. And I really believe that you're going to end up seeing some faces of guys that maybe we have not seen that much of in the springtime, if that makes sense. I can tell you one thing. Keith Combs is a happy camper. We've got some fall tournaments going.
I think it's going to be a fun twist because, not that Rick Clunn slacked off at all in the last couple of years. He's won 2 Bassmaster Elite Series events over the last few years, but he is a fall fishing master, and I think that that's going to be a great shot at him making the 51st Bassmaster Classic for 2021.
Yes.
With those
Yes.
fall tournaments for sure.
And what's cool is, like, growing up, when I used to, I got a big one here, Ron. Growing up, I would following there was always some events in the fall. I remember smiling Robert Tucker on Lake Martin throwing a spinnerbait in like November. Things like that. That to me is what I'm probably most excited about this year.
It'll be cool to see a Chickamauga with grass mats.
This is a tricky one.
Or different things like that. I mean, we weren't going to have the Hiwassee River in play because of how early we were doing Chickamauga, and with all the postponements and delays and whatnot, now that's more water in play, so it'll be fun.
Ronnie, I know it's very premature. Give me this is very hard to do right now. Give me an Angler of the Year prediction.
Man, I think it's going to be hard to top a Scott Canterbury or a Stetson Blaylock, and I know I'm going number 1, number 2 from last year, but both of them starting with a top 10 at St. John's, and then coming off good classics as well. Somebody like a John Cruz has started off strong, but I think that it's gonna be interesting to see if the Canadians, after struggling as much as they did at the St. John's, if they can kind of claw their way back through with this one southern event and then 4 northern events and then going back down south, you know. So there's going to be a lot.
Right.
If I had to put one name on it, I honestly think it's going to be hard to beat Stetson Blaylock for sure.
Wow. Dig it. Ronnie, I got one that is really sassy right here. I just laid eyes on him. He's nipped me once. He's stuck right now.
Our 2020
So like what I did right there is I launched way.
Hank Cherry wanted you to catch one on a jerkbait for him at some point today, if you get the chance.
That's not happening. I love Hank Cherry. I love the guy, but I've thrown a jerkbait for the better side of 3 months. I'm done with it. I am absolutely. I've got tendonitis. I'm finished.
Z, you went from a half shell. What did you just pick up there? Is that just a tube?
I picked up a tube right there. This joker head right here, he was fidgety yesterday. I looked at him yesterday, and he's nipped me 2 times, no doubt. I'm going to see how close he'll let me get to him, but it's a good one. But the other side of this is we've got 3 hours to make hay, and we got a lot more fish that are way more cooperative, but it is a big one. Ronnie, you didn't tell the folks at home, this is where you caught your very first spawning smallmouth.
This is, Z. This is where I caught 2 or 3 of my top 5 biggest smallmouth as well, and I got to enjoy that. This time of year, I believe 2 years ago with you and Davey Height, we had you caught them so good, yes. Z, we had half a day just to mess around before our afternoon plane flights, and boy, was it, you even made one pee on me. It was an incredible couple hours we got to fish. It was fun.
Said nobody ever. Well, I don't want to give up on this one, but he's a big one. I could see him. It's a big one. He'll go. I'm going to catch this one, Ron. The water's got just enough ripple. I could barely make all I kind of look for is their tail. You know, some of them stick out like a sore thumb. Got him. God, I lost him. All I'm doing, I'm getting it to the back side of that nest. I'm getting it to the back side of that nest. And what I want is his tail towards me and his head pointed forward to where I bring it right into his face. Like right there, he swung at it. He swung at it again. Yeah, this one's done. I think it's a really big one. I don't know. We want to catch this one though before break. But they're like largemouth in a weird way. When you get one hot, you really swinging, eat it.
Z has the stance of a
followed
puma
it all
right
the way
now
through
on
that
the front
time.
deck. I like that stance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna catch you this one, Ron. I think it's an impressive specimen. Gosh, I'm like nervous. Come on. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I think it's the biggest one I fished for today. And we have a lot of footage from this morning that we're gonna run in a little bit. But I think this is one we want to make the team. Yeah, I mean, he's stuck. Biggin. Yeah. Stay hooked. Gosh, that is a giant. 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 Oh. That's a 5er. Oh. Stay hooked. Oh. Ay, 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 ay. Stay hooked. Wow. Wow. I mean, come on, man. Hey, Ron, that's a biggin. How about that one? That's right at 5, no doubt. Check that out. Let's move on. Woo! Wes, I can't high five you, but I want to right now. That was a good one. Oh my gosh. Let's keep on looking. Ooh. That's exactly what I was saying right there, Ronnie, is, hold on, I think I got another one right here. Is that fish had to get at a certain angle to where his tail was towards me and his face was headed away. And that's a lot of times when you're largemouth fishing for spawners too, that's exactly how you want them. You want them looking away from you to where they're not staring at you. I don't know if they can see your silhouette or what it is. Gosh, that was a big one, dude. I need some water. That's fun.
Z, I honestly want today to go so great, and I want everything to be perfect, but if I mess up a few times today, it may be on purpose so that they take me out of the studio and send me to Zona Live knowing that, hey, that has worked for many years. We'll just keep that going. This will be a one-time deal in studio, you know.
You like to be consistent, Ron. You don't like change. I don't either. Trust me on that.
I like 5-pounders I get to fish at
Exactly.
after the show's done.
Found one. Got one. But, you know, something else real quick. These are like the most premium conditions on Earth. Like the conditions we have right here. Oh, yeah, this one's going to be a little troublemaker, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Uh-huh. Yeah, he is. A little Mr. Troublemaker. Black Mamba. Biggin. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How about him? Check him out down there, Wes. Little gravel cockroach is what he is. Biggin. The one thing I was saying earlier, though, about these is the one of the things that's different, and I don't know that I've got a full thought out yet anyway, is all these big males, like this, just massive males, is terrible landing. Horrible, horrible, horrible landing. Come on, dude. This is unbelievable. When these females come in, I've noticed this that's way different from largemouth, is largemouth females have a tendency, especially down south, not as much up north, they'll hang around the bed for like a day or two or stuff like that. Look at that weapon. A smallmouth female, they'll come in for a few hours. They'll come in for a few hours, drop, and gone. And then all you'll see up here is males. And that's the biggest difference. Like I think in my lifetime, is that one out there? No, is that a bed out there? I thought I saw a halo way out there. Yeah, there's one out there. Hold on. Like I think in my lifetime, I've only caught probably 4 or 5 females, smallmouth off beds. They're huge, but they're real fidgety. They're real goofy acting. But they just don't hang long. That was my main point. They hang for like a couple hours and they're gone. They're literally making beds right now. Hey, Ron.
Yes, Z.
I'm going to tell you the next 2 hours is going to get insane. Like this hasn't even started yet.
I've got a good question from Mr. Brad Crumb, not Breadcrumb. Brad Crumb on Twitter said, if Zona was fishing the Elite Series, his walkout music has to fit his fishing style. What would your walk-up song be?
It would be something by Primus, I would say. It could even be something from System of a Down. Well, you know, one of the two, I would say. Yeah, just like a cat, I'm stalking. Like a snake, I'm slithering.
Phantom Fishing wants to know on Twitter,
Wes was asking.
What's a tell
Go ahead.
sign that a bedfish will or will not bite, Z? Like when you're evaluating.
Gosh, man. Who asked that question?
Phantom Fishing.
That's an unbelievably great question. Is how to know when you want to spend time on. Okay, hold up, gang. How to know when to spend time on one and how not to is like if I throw right there, okay, I'm throwing at a bed. When I identify the fish, like I'm staring at the fish right now, and he is absolutely pinned. He's going nowhere. If I would have thrown at him and he would have just jammed, there's a pretty good shot I'm going to leave him alone and check him later. And what I'm saying by that is, like this one right here is, gosh, this is a big one. He just swatted at it. Like this one's staying here, but he's a little tweaky, he's a little squirrely. But to me, that's catchable if he hangs around the bed. If he makes a big 30-yard radius sweep away from my bait, I don't want any part of that. But generally what they do, what a smallmouth does, is when you throw, he makes a donut, okay? He makes a perfect donut, goes out, goes around, and comes right back to the bed and then sets up, and then I bring it into his mouth. One that I don't want to mess with is when you throw in there and he's like a complete rocket and makes a 100-yard radius. That fish isn't ready, but that fish could be ready in like 2 hours. Biggin. But they're all, you know, the thing is, every single one of them is so totally different. Like even the ones we fished for today, like these are a little squirrely. I know it seems like they're biting real good, but when we get to like 11:30, 12, they're gonna get really foolish today. And what happens is that temp will come up just like 1 degree. To me, it's more, like I said, it's more of a sunlight deal. That sunlight will just set them up.
Z, a lot of fans can now get some more info on these specific topics for sure. You have those new Zona show dirt episodes on YouTube that you guys put out explaining some of these topics in depth from certain past shows and whatnot, explaining your reasoning behind techniques and whatnot.
Yeah, and really what we wanted to do is we had so much content from the last, 10 to 12 years. You have a tendency every now and then, you take it for granted that people get to see your show on the outdoor channel when not everybody does. And the other side of it is, in a 19-minute show, it's very hard at times to really break down, what the key technique or what the key pattern was. And what we tried to do with those show dirts is kind of go back into our library and break down certain tech. We're going to come back to this one. It's not ready, but it's a bruiser. What we tried to do more than anything was really kind of dive into how-to with those, which seemed to work out pretty well. Hey, Ronnie, I'm going to catch that bass for you today, I promise you.
Please.
Let me just look how big he is real quick. Yeah. But, like this one right here, this is a player, no doubt. It's not a 5-pounder, but it ain't far from it. Okay, we're gonna re-rack and come back here in a little bit. Gang, it is good to be back. Come hang with us after the break. I think things are gonna pop, flare, and sizzle on Zona Live, presented by Trokar. Wes, let's jam.
Zona Live is brought to you by Rattle, DAIWA, Mercury, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, and by Strike King. You're watching Zona Live, presented by Trokar, absolutely the world's sharpest fish hooks.
Hey gang, welcome back to Zona Live, presented by Trokar. Big morning so far. We're in our second hour right now. Hour one was pretty phenomenal, but I wanted to do something different. If you pan down right here, this is basically gonna be an entire smallmouth bed fishing beat down today, okay? And we started off, gosh, he bit it right there, look at that. We started off on gravel, but this time of year, to me, the best stuff to fish, hands down, bar none, is reeds. Reeds get some of the biggest ones in them. You gotta tweak your tackle a little bit compared to what we were doing out there. I was throwing a number 2 Trokar drop shot hook, just an open hook, because I could get by on that gravel. But in these reeds they're number one, they're really, really tough. And the other side of it is the reeds actually get zebra mussels on them, okay? And it's gonna nick your line up. So I'll go to a little bit beefier tackle, I've got a 2/0 Trokar finesse hook right here, like that fish bit in one. Oh, I could see him. Here he comes. Gosh, they come off. He's sassy. But it doesn't look like it. Those little pencil reeds right there, you're like, dude, you could rip them out of that stuff. They are so, so tough. But the other side of this is, I think some of the biggest ones that we're gonna catch today, they're gonna come out of these reeds. But what's different from a smallmouth, from a largemouth, like I pin that fish, I hit him, that fish will come back and bite 9 times out of 10. Or not. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Gosh, look at that bass, dog. How about it, man? How about it? And see, what I did was I just went to a different gig, right? I went to a little baby menace grub and just a bigger hook, and now I got 15-pound Abrazex on where I could hit them harder. And here's the thing. From here, if you pan down to that point, there's about 100 that are locked on in here. These beds look a lot different, especially when you got a little wind like this. You got to really creep through, and what you'll see like here's one right here. You'll see a little bright spot of turquoise. I think that's a bed. I don't know. No. False alarm. And what'll happen is you'll get it, God, it was. Can you believe that? I checked them. I never saw that fish. Can you see him, Wes? I can't see him. Oh, I see the bed. Yeah, there he is. I think. Hold on. Let me see if he moves.
And to be 100% clear for the fans watching online, this is the same fishery that we went to commercial break with. Z has just switched up, picked up a bait caster, and is flipping in some of that shallower cover for spawning smallmouth as well. But we will be able to get your questions answered over the next 2 hours of this Zona Live broadcast. Fans are entered to win prize packs from Trokar, from Zona, and also some of his other great sponsors throughout this thing. You don't have to get your question answered to be in the running. Just use hashtag ZonaLive, hashtag sweepstakes, not only on Bassmaster, but Zona's Facebook as well, and on Twitter. And Z, with that being said, we've got some baitcaster type questions. One from Joe McLean on Zona's Facebook. Do you prefer a flipping hook or EWG when flipping / punching? And what size do you use for those soft plastics, more times than not?
Ronnie, I'll be, in all honesty, to me, the best hook that I use, and I really believe this, their Pro V, whether it's in their Nico rig hook or it's in their flipping hook, that Pro V really looks like the old school, oh my gosh, the old school O'Shaughnessy, you know, where it's kind of got that V down at the bottom. I prefer that Pro V hook across the board more than anything. I don't use it as much when I punch. I'll go to the monster flipping hook then, just because it's beefier, it's a heavier gauge. But whenever I can get by with it, that Pro V is pretty much all I use. Big, and that's a new one. Ooh, ooh. And what's funny is, you'll notice something. I made this comment earlier. You look at their eyes right now. I think that's one of the coolest things about smallmouth. You look at their eyes and they're real red and on fire. This is generally, I don't know what it is. It's the only time of year, dude, I'm seeing bed after bed after bed. Let me hit that one real quick. I mean, it's just going to stick out like a sore thumb. Is this time of year, Ronnie, you see that real red eye, and in like 3 weeks, you will not see it again. I don't think it's, yeah.
Folks, we may not see a bait cast for the rest of the Z Live today.
See, the thing is, what I'm doing is every time I'm hitting one of these fish, I'm turning back around and looking behind me because I don't want to get up on a real big one. Because what I've seen more than anything out here today so far is how many, like the number that came in last night, compared to what was here yesterday, it's unbelievable how many came shallow. Sorry, did I answer the question on the rod and reel? What was that one, Ron?
No, it was, you were talking about the flipping hooks, and you did, talking about the Pro V-bend for the Trokar, and then you'll go to the monster flipping hook for that. How do you size up a hook? Fans want to know, how do you know when to do a 4/0 or a 5/0? It doesn't say on these plastics, you know, on the package of what you buy. Like, how do you know what to buy at the store before you pull the bait out and actually rig it up?
That's a good question. Ronnie, that's a really good question right there. Like, when I'm fishing for a smallmouth, I don't want a 5/0. I wish I could, but they have a small mouth, and I'll use a 2/0 or a 3/0 at most, to where when I'm largemouth fishing, I want the biggest hook I can get comparatively. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I know what you're saying.
But when I'm doing this, I want to, for a soft plastic, biggin. For that fish right there was for Seth Fighter. He told me to hit one with the bait cast rod today. He got her. I'm gonna hit a few more for my buddy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like that's a Trokar 2/0 finesse hook that I have in there, a straight shank. Here's one thing I didn't cover. I want a straight shank. I know EWGs are the rage and stuff like that, and I get it because it fits your bait nicely. But a straight shank hook, you hook so many more bass. You hook so many more fish. Did you see that fish's bed in the 360? He bit. Ronnie, I'm just going to keep on rolling through here, okay, little buddy? Ooh, I found me another one.
Z, how does water level affect these spawning fish? You guys have gotten pounded with a ton of rain, so have we down here, but does it really affect it might not dirty up the water, but it might cool off the water, or it might, silt up the water, I guess. So how do you balance that attacking spawning fish after a heavy rain?
Hold on, Ron. These are good ones. Got him. Got him. Boy, I'm a hot mess right now, Ron. I am a hot mess. The question was for the water level, and gosh, man, I don't know if you watch the news. A lake my boys fish college tournaments on Sanford and Wixom. We had so much rain. On Sunday, Monday. We actually got out and taped for an hour on Monday. And dude, I mean inches of rain in a few hours. But it doesn't affect smallmouth at all. Like this lake right here is crazy, crazy high. It's a little public lake that it gets a fair amount of print. I don't know why today. There's only been one bass boat out here. He's right down that way where we started. It really doesn't here's what I can tell you. Let me show you real quick. So that's a little Trokar finesse hook, okay? 1/4 ounce, tour grade tungsten weight. And I'm using a baby menace in these reeds. And that baby menace is naughty, naughty, naughty. This is a goby lake. There's a lot of gobies in here, and perfect. But something about that, Ron, is smallmouth, this is no joke, smallmouth will come back to the same rock or the same weed or reed, whatever it is, every single year until they expire. Until they're completely done and they pass on, they will spawn every single year in the exact same spot. I've seen it over and over and over on these lakes. Like waypoints from 2 years ago are working today. And you say to yourself, well, that's not the same fish. It absolutely is, because I've looked at their markings. They're very, very like homing pit. Uh-oh, new one, Wes. Gosh. Ooh, I hit that one a little bit. I hit him a little too hard, Ron. Hold on. All right, I'll show my whole setup here real quick. Wes, I punched that one a little. I had a little bit too much piss and vinegar on that one. So I got a little bitty 1/4 ounce weight. Tungsten, that's a Strike King tungsten weight. And I use, rubber inserts. I never, ever, ever, ever use bobber stops. I never use those things. To me, those inserts, you get a better hook in them. Hold on.
You actually rebuked me the other day when I put a bobber stop on over text.
I did. I lit you up pretty good on that too.
Kind of like that one you just missed.
Okay, so I've got, exactly. To me, that hook right there is the deal, because you definitely stick them better. That's a 2/0 Trokar finesse hook for that baby menace. I hit that one a little too hard for Seth right there. You know, I say that for the poor folks up there at Sanford and Wixom. It's really been across the board this year from everything. You're not going to, but from everything that's gone in the country, Aaron Martins and his whole family. It's been a tough spring, no doubt about it, for everybody. But I think everybody's also, from a health-wise and safety, everybody wants to get back to life in a safe manner. I know I do. Is that one right there? Is it? Wow. I mean, that is a sitting duck. I mean, that is a sitting duck right there. He's just trying to say hi. He wants to say hi to Ron.
That's why I love fishing in May in Michigan with you, Z, because they're all dumb. I can catch them.
They are dumb. They are dumb. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Z, we've got a couple questions in the same realm of topic, but Robert Lucky Fish Schwab on your Facebook said, what length of leader
Robert
do you use?
Schwabe.
Schwabe, yes, okay. So what length of leader do you use when running a fluorocarbon to braid deal when you're drop shotting, but also on your bait caster, because you're doing both? And you're hooked up.
Hold on, Ronnie. Hold on, Ronnie. Nice one. Gravel roach. Hey, you know, one thing I'm gonna tell you, I talked about that siren half shell. Look at that, top dead center. TDC. Doop. I talked about that siren half shell. That little baby menace, that's a nasty character. The reason why they could get it, they get the whole bait generally. Sorry about that. Ronnie, give me that question one more time.
Braid to fluoro, how do you determine your leader length? How much fluoro you put on it, and also what you connect them to together with. And here's hooked up again.
It is a shredding right now. See, and that there's one of the big differences in a smallmouth is is I broke that fish off, and if you just generally, if you let them rest, if you let those fish rest for like 20 seconds, they'll come right back and eat again. They get, like a lot of these fish are waiting for females to come probably today into the weekend. And those fish will bite repetitively until you actually catch them. But to answer Lucky Schwabe's question on braid to fluoro, how long do I keep the leader? Dude, when I have a spinning rod in my hand, it's long. Like it's straight up. I prefer we got some big ones coming right up here. I prefer like a 10 to 20 foot leader, and people are like, well, you can't cast it. You absolutely can cast it. If you tie the right knot, it casts perfectly. God. But whenever I'm on really clear bodies of water, like I am right here, I always want minimum 10 feet. And the knot I use is an FG. It's just taken a long time to really learn an FG knot. But when you do, it comes through the guides great, and you could throw really light baits with really long leaders. I think it's a good one. It's a new one. It wasn't here yesterday. But you see how I'm bringing his bed, and I'm popping it and popping it, popping it. See, like he went in a full circle right there. Got him. Good one. But if you just sit there and snap it, and when I'm popping it, I'm only moving that bait. I'm only moving that bait like an inch at a time. Beautiful. That is beautiful. Playing with fire, I should retie. But always, always, always a 10-foot leader. And to me, guys like Aaron, guys like Zaldane that are really good with a spinning rod, Brent Ayler, stuff like that, guys that are really good with a spinning rod, all of them tie a really, really long leader. Look at that sitting duck out there, huh? Yeah, we'll come visit you. Hey, Ronnie, it's happening.
Oh, I'm thrilled for you.
What was funny was last night, I had some buddies up from Whoville, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle in the morning. It was so cold, and it had been so cloudy. But you always hear, you constantly hear Good one. You know, fish coming up in waves and you all blah, blah, blah. You hear things like that. I'm going to retie. You hear fish coming up in waves and stuff like that. The wave that cameraman Wes and I saw yesterday, this live was going to be on another lake. It was going to be on a lake a little bit closer to Mackinac Bridge, way up. I said, man, we got to go check one more lake really fast. And it took us like 15 minutes to know this is exactly where we had to be if last night didn't get too cold, and it didn't. It only got down to 48, and up here that's not too cold. But the wave that came in, they came in by the hundreds yesterday around noon. But it's actually all relative to, like, this lake that we're on. It only gets down to like 35 feet of water, so it warms faster, to where if you're out on Lake Michigan, like we were yesterday morning, cameraman Wes and I, the water temp there was like 42, 43 degrees. And those fish won't come shallow, like really shallow, for another 2 or 3 weeks when we get some really warm nights. But these lakes that pop first are definitely the shallower, the ones that don't get down to 100 feet of water.
Z, we had some questions. I've lost who asked it, but 2 or 3 people have asked it. When you're fishing and it's cloudy, it's maybe not prime for looking at spawning fish, but you know they should be pushing up in those waves. You throw something like a caffeine shad around, or how do you target those ones that you can't see, but you know that they're going to be up there? He's hooked up again.
Hold on, Ron. Hold on. Wow. If you run into, here's the, first and foremost, like the most important thing is I use a real bright colored lens, okay? These are Striking S11s, and there's other manufacturers make great ones that have bright lenses. My eyes don't do well with, like, growing up, all I heard was smoke colored lens, the traditional smoke. My eyes don't adjust to that real good, okay? But like this is a cloud lens. A lens like this will absolutely make these beds pop, cloudy or sunny, either or, okay? But it like I said, it's all relative to your eyes, as an individual. Because a lot of times, well, that's a big bed. I don't know why you didn't bite right there. A lot of times, people I talk to, they're like, oh, no, my eyes do way better with a smoke lens, and that's fine. But these fish right here, even when it's cloudy, you will catch them the same way. If you look at my map back there, I've got the line of them marked, and you just have to get near them, close enough to them, to where they'll pop, even when it's cloudy, and you'll still catch them. That one right there.
Z, are you a wrestling fan?
I'm going to kind of start moving a little. Am I a wrestling fan? Absolutely I am.
Well, this question is just
Hang on, Ronnie. I got to go visit this one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Avery Arnett wants to know, if Mark Zona and Ronnie were a wrestling tag team partners, what would their wrestling names be? And I don't even have to come up with mine, because I know you'll come up with one for me.
I would say that we'd be the reincarnation of the Islanders, Haku and Tama. I was big into them. I did like, Tommy does too, like big time. I can't remember his name. Kamala, the Samoan headhunter. I liked him too. But I'd say Haku and Tama. But I like the Hart brothers too. Huh? Yeah, Triple X. Right? Actually, you know what's funny is we spent, this is not a joke. We spent like seriously quality time one night in a bar. Mercer, Davey Height, a lot of the crew at JM. We partied with Jake the Snake one night. He was doing a live show. Great guy, great stories. Horrifying stories.
I could see you being a big fan of Mankind.
I was big into that DDT move
and stuff, you know.
I was really big into that DDT move. Oh gosh, look at the one with him. Look at the one with him. See him, Wes? Look, 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 look. He's trying to get the bait. That was awesome. That was awesome. So, yeah, there he is. He's right behind him. That's the male. This is the female. Uh-huh. How about it, man? Doop. Look at that. Little meat pie. We're not even to the big ones yet. You know what I mean, boy? I know. I'm creeping. I'm creeping. Like, what's funny is, like, these days, I grew up doing this. My boys do this a lot now. They're doing it down south today. I guarantee it. Is all you really need to do is watch the weather. And the other way, and I don't talk about this on the Zona show too much, but I taped a show with my buddy Seth Fighter a couple weeks ago, pre-lockdown. We were up on the big lake, and the way, this is no joke, the way that we find these massive pods, like this is a massive pod of fish, is just idling and idling and idling and idling until you're like, ooh, there's one. Rarely this time of year and earlier will I just get to a lake and start throwing. I hardly ever do that. I'll just idle around until I see what I'm hunting for, which is generally, oh, hey, there they are. And that's the best way to find them. And it's the other side is it's the fastest way to find them. But if you look across here, like this is just a big, 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 big barren sand flat, okay? Just a huge sand flat that meets what I, hold up, Vandy, hold up. Oh. He spun. He spun. Come on. It's just a big sand flat, and the only place they got to do their business, they really have two choices. You either make hay, you make your babies on rock, or you do it on reeds. Like that fish's bed right there, you could barely make out. It was just a little turquoise spot, but I saw him sitting in the center of it. Like I couldn't imagine 48 more hours on this lake. Those are good ones, man. That's nice. Wow. 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 Oh, look at, he's just a little baby. Just a little angel baby. That's a nice one. Really nice ones. They're all heavy threes. We're gonna hit a few big ones before we're done. Whoa. Okay. Ronnie, sorry. I think I disturbed a question right there. Did I?
I have no idea.
Not a clue.
There is one that I've been waiting to ask.
Something that, yeah.
From your Facebook, Dalton D. Felice. You have some perspective on this, but he is a high school angler, wants to fish in college. What steps do you recommend? I know your boys went from high school and they've started fishing in college just recently, so.
Hold on, I had one getting sassy right there, Ron. You know, that's a great question. The question is, what can I recommend for a kid that's, you know, wanting to fish, you can get really involved in the sport? And man, this is what I did with Hunter and Jacob. I don't know if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I have no idea. But, you know, one of the questions I get a lot is, you know, how do I get sponsors? How do I get sponsors? How do I get sponsors? Man, don't worry about that. That's all. You don't need to worry about that stuff. To me, the most important thing, and this is what I passed on to Hunter and Jacob, was tow. And you know, I've said it, Ronnie. You and I've had talks about it on Bassmaster Live. Is in your high school years and your college years, the most important thing for an angler is time on the water. Period. End of story. You know, don't worry about the, man, I got to get, you know, I seen this person with patches and this person. Don't worry about that. Go on the water and have fun with your buddies, social distancing. But just worry about how to master your craft. You know, yeah, I told the boys for their first couple years of college, y'all are wearing flannel shirts, man. You know, it's just, gosh. Don't worry about the sponsor game at 15, 16, 17, all the way up till you're 20 years old. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've got somebody that can teach you the business side of it, absolutely try to gain knowledge like that. I can't see if there's one in that. There's one in that. I mean, no doubt. But that's for Dalton, that is the number one piece of advice I got. Get out on the water. And when you think you're spending too much time on the water, spend more. Because whoever you're going to compete against in life that's going to be good, he's spending that time on the water. I got me a player here. Do it, do it, do it, do it. They're a little squirrely right now, Wesley. Oop. That would be the best advice I could give. I don't know if that's right, but I think, you know, to me, in bass fishing, it's like golf, it's like football. You're just not going to come out and be like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm Tom Brady." You gotta work at it and work at it and work at it.
I think that was great,
Gosh,
Z.
I mean, see the fish.
For someone who you didn't fish in college, you know, in the fishing series, whatnot, I think that's still great advice.
Yeah. Just a little guy.
Z, another really popular question. This one specifically from Corey on Facebook. Trubisky or Foles?
Corey
I actually
Johnston?
am looking at Twitter and I see Foles is trending right now. I mean, you got to just pick one. I hated the Cardinals picking Kyler Murray, and 1 year later I'm fine with it. But I know Trubisky 1 year ago, you were probably happy with him.
Yeah. Well, you know, Ron, the Zona Live presented by Trokar just took a horrible turn right there. It's man, I had just such high hopes. You know what I mean? I had high hopes. Like after they went to the playoffs a few years ago and Cody Parkey ruined all my dreams. Stop it, EK. You're horrible. You know, I hate to say it. Nick Foles, if he's the starter, he's a temporary fix.
Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles.
No, that's right. Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles. I don't know if he's going to be that again in his lifetime. Here's where I'm at, Ron. I'll be really upfront about this. I'm not against the Bears tanking. Yeah, tanking. And going after that boy from Clemson. Is that where he's from, Wes?
Old Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I heard they're going to sign J.J. Watt, but I mean, yeah, Trevor Lawrence. I like that boy. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. See, I'd be okay with that.
Z, you're not maybe from Chicago. You love Chicago sports, though. You know, I mean, I guess you might be. I can't remember. Or whatever. But they had The Last Dance, all the Bulls stuff. Were you a Bulls fan growing up?
Bud, that was when I lived in Chicago. Oh, gosh. I mean, strummed it. Look at him. Saying hi to Wesley. Gooden! I mean, Gooden! Wow. See, I made that comment earlier, Ronnie, that there was more coming. That bass was not right there yesterday. That's a dandy. Wow. Ah. What? Top dead center. How about it, man? Fresh fish. Begging. And here's a really good thing to look at right here. That fish, it's from my little high school buddy, Dustin, talking about it. Look at how big that fish is. Yeah, he's right here. All right, I gotta get out a little inventory. Yeah, but for you're talking about The Last Dance. Something that I saw in that Last Dance is, and maybe this is a product of being a champion. Jordan was a bit of a, you know what I mean?
You can say it.
Michael Jordan wasn't the nicest guy in the world. He's rough talking his teammates. He's punching Steve Kerr. Who punches Steve Kerr? That's like on Christmas Eve, like walking up and decking Santa. You don't do that. But it was really fun to watch that because that's right. Right when they started to win is when I moved out of Chicago. I lived on the south side. I moved in '91, and that's really when they started to take over the East and beat the Pistons and Bill Lane Beer. But I'll tell you what I did enjoy about The Last Dance was seeing teams like get after it, like really dislike each other. You know what I mean? Like the Pistons and the Bulls, they hated each other. That's what you want to see, man. You want to see rivalries in sports. You don't want to see games and guys giving jerseys to each other after the game. Come on, man. Right?
I'll say this. It's hard. You got to have perspective watching The Last Dance, knowing that the person who okayed it is the main character, the one that it's all about for the most part, even though it's the whole Bulls team and the legacy.
Yeah.
It's all Jordan, so some things are going to come off that he's approved, some probably didn't make it, and so it's some of his former teammates probably weren't exactly happy with the way things were displayed, but you got to probably irk people if you're going to be a winner. You know?
He made one. He made one really interesting comment in that documentary, and it was near the end of it, near the third to last show or whatever it was, and he said, "Yeah, I'm hard on my teammates, but I never ask them more of what I ask myself." I thought that was a very honest line. There's some things going to happen around this point, Ronnie.
I thought about it this morning. I thought about
Hey, Ronnie, just so you know, during commercial break,
yep.
Just so you know, during commercial break, Wes has talked about how well this has worked with you in the studio, and that maybe you should not even come on Zona Lives anymore.
Well, I'm actually going to call the...
That was a joke.
I'm going to call the leader of the tribe, Karen, and I'm going to ask her if she needs photos of you at any point, and I'll just come up and go fishing.
I got me a mamba. You on him? Here he comes. Gosh. You see the fish?
Yeah, I see him.
Well, that's a jet black one. Ay, 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 ay. I'm going to hang on him for a while, Wes. It's a good one, I think. Yeah. See, that's an... Middleton said he told him the same exact thing. Ah! You see him spin? Yeah, I'd say he's hot. Spinning. Eat it, eat it. Ah. Sassy. I think it's a good one. If Wes can see it. And see, every cast, I'm putting it on the back of that bed. Okay. Every cast, I'm putting it on the back of that bed and bringing it into his face. You never want to throw right on the bed. Throw to the back and just come on in. Just tap it in. Yeah. Yeah. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. What a fun live. I want to hit him with something harder. And what I'll do is just pop it right into his face. Oh, that is doing nothing for him. Isn't that something? Like, could care less that menace came through there.
Siren tube.
Hold on.
Siren tube.
Yeah. Yeah. Spinning on it. No? Yep. Biggin. Biggin. Wow. I'm using a DAIWA Steez reel to a Brent Haler drop shot rod right there. Gosh. That sucked. That was a really big one. Huh. Let me mark that one for We'll come get him after lunch. He's right back in. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Ooh, he's a little more weary now. Gosh, that's a big one. Huh. Huh. We're going to end the show on that one. He'll come back. That was an ape.
That was a what?
Oh, there's one right there. That was an ape. Yeah, he's a good one. There he is, right there. He's catchable in 10 minutes. See him? There he is, Wes. Wow. That is a mamba. You know what? Hold on. Hold on. We'll come back to that, Wes. Yeah, that's a really good one. I do too. I do too.
Z, what's the deal with the half shell versus a dream shot in this situation?
Man, you know what? I just use, it's weird. I just use a half shell more. It's just a little more compact. The half shell was actually, it was a bait that I worked on with Strike King, and it's just a little bit more compact. You know what I'm saying? It's not, a dream shot's just a little bit long. Ronnie, both of them would catch him fine. Totally catch them fine, but I know when they eat that half shell, they've got it. Uh-oh.
Z, what are the stages? Oh, I'll wait.
Small. Nice one. But it was funny that, like that big one back there, he never would look at that menace. He would never look at that menace. But when that siren got in there, he was all over it. And I've seen that throughout the day today. Like they'll totally want one over the other, whether it's the menace or the siren half shell.
Z, you mentioned,
Ronnie, go ahead. I know you asked something right there.
Yeah, you mentioned you had put in some work on that half shell with Strike King. What's the process of that? Fans don't know how long that takes or the stages. So is it something that you say we need a different bait profile when it comes to drop shotting, or we need something like that, and then do you draw up an idea and throw it to them, or do they start pitching stuff to you?
Yeah, a little bit. That's a great question. It's a little bit mutual. You know what I mean? Ronnie, you know this. My kids and I work on baits, and our buddies, we work on baits in my barn. And Strike King will call and ask, hey, what are you guys working on? What do you need? The other side is Strike King always asks, what are we missing? What are we missing in our lineup? Because for any company in the tackle industry, they have to constantly be. They have to have new products every year. And, a lot of times, like to me, a half shell was a morph of some of the other really good drop shot baits in the market and a dream shot. Like it had similarities of all of them, if that makes sense. But it was a hybrid to where it had the attributes of like 3 or 4 different. I got a little dead spot right here, Ronnie, where they're not locked on, but up here it's gonna get pure filth. But it's a process of working together, you know. But the great thing is working with a company that actually listens, whether it's good ideas or bad ideas. They listen because they know that we're on the water pretty much 300 days a year. Ronnie, when we come back, one more hour of Zona Live. It's been a magical day. I need to thank everybody. But this next strip down this could be festivities. Zona Live, presented by Trokar, coming back in 1 minute. Right there. Right there. Just the start. Just the start. Oh my gosh. What? We have so many bigger ones. Wes, I'd like to go over one of these beds right here. Oh, he's gonna eat it again. That was awesome. That was awesome. So great. Biggin. To where I think it's gonna be a game changer is we have a lot of beds, you know, lakes. Here he is. Biggin. How about that one right there, dog? Right? Oh my God. Doop. Yeah. Stay hooked. Wow. I mean, come on, man.
Zona Live is brought to you by Carhartt, Trokar, and by Power Pole. Zona Live is brought to you by Cigar, Boat US, TH Marine, and by Bass Mafia. You're watching Zona Live, presented by Trokar, absolutely the world's sharpest fish hooks.
Welcome back to Zona Live, presented by Trokar. Big thanks to everybody back at JM Associates and Bassmaster.com. Oh, yay. It has been this is no joke. It has been a 2-hour extravaganza of smallies coming up shallow. And what's really been cool about this today is, actually I'm gonna keep going, is seeing, it amazes me to see how many really nice ones have come shallow overnight. Like I thought, we came out here really early to bank a couple fish catches and caught probably 15 really nice ones, and we haven't even aired. We haven't even aired all of them. We aired a couple of them that happened earlier today, but that is the magic of this little couple week span right now that we're in. He got my weight. See that? He ate my weight. Bad puppy. Okay, hold on. Bad Zackers. Ronnie, I'll tell you what I would like, if it's possible. I would love if people would tell us what they're cooking this weekend for the big holiday weekend.
Well, I think you just did it, Z. Fans at home, tell us what you're cooking
wanna
for
hear it.
Memorial Day weekend, where you're fishing maybe as well. Hashtag Zona Live, hashtag sweepstakes. Send in your questions, send in your statements, send in your food picks, your fish picks, anything. I know the Bassmaster's got a hashtag May Bass Memories thing going on, and today is your biggest smallmouth ever. So Z, I'm gonna ask you, what's your biggest smallmouth ever?
Biggest smallmouth ever, just under 8 pounds. I think it was 712, 713. I've caught 7 or 8, between 7 and 8 pounds. We had one on a Zona show with Brent Ayler, but I've only held 1 8-pounder in my lifetime, and it was caught by an old cameraman friend of mine.
Was the heavy 7 that you caught on a secret lake or a known venue?
God darn it. No, I'll tell you, it was actually Silver Creek, New York, just west of Buffalo. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that every time I've caught a 7-pound caliber fish, except for that one I caught with Ayler, they've always been lone dogs. They've always been rogues. He is. You know what? That fish is not very big. Let's keep going. That's probably why I couldn't hook him. I don't know if it's like, you know, what's weird is really, really big deer, and what I've seen is like really big smallmouth, they like being alone. When smallmouth get past that 5-pound range, they don't like being around their buddies anymore. Like, you see a lot of 3.5 to 4 pound smallmouth that'll group up. I really believe in a lot of places in the country that when they get to that not places like Mille Lacs where they kind of live all together, I think they really just get to a point where they live alone. And I also believe a lot of those really, really huge smallmouth suspend. They suspend really hard. Gosh, I can't see good here.
Z, we often talk about in the South, maybe that first wave of spawners, you'll see a great big one or some really high quality fish move up first or last. Obviously they move up at all times, but with smallmouth, do you see bigger ones moving up quicker or the tail end?
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question. I always think the biggest ones move up the fastest. I think if you have sunlight, and I don't think this, I've seen it with my eyes, smallies will spawn in water that's in the high 40s, without a doubt. I've seen it. I've seen it on the lake that I grew up on. And generally, Ron, they absolutely are. They're the biggest ones. Gosh, I see a body. I don't know how big he is. Those bigger ones are in front of us, but we'll get there. But yes, the first ones that pop are generally the biggest ones of the year.
Dan Friedman on your Facebook page, Z, said, if you're fishing this same exact lake a month or so from now, what type of areas would you be looking at? Obviously, it's only 35 feet deep at max, and there's a lot of flats. Are those post spawners going to be in the same spot they spawned in, or is it going to be 1 foot deeper? You know, where are you going to start if you're targeting post spawners at this lake?
When this lake goes post spawn, and it probably will, it'll go post spawn in about 3 weeks. They'll just get on these really no, he's small. They get on these really barren sand flats where you're like, wow, I'm throwing at nothing. But they'll just roam those sand flats. And just like largemouth, there will be fry garters, you know, But one of the things that I've seen on inland lakes after they spawn is a topwater is unbelievable. It's unbelievable how good it is. I'm going to tell you right now, we could have, even though the water temp is like 56 degrees, we could have caught them today on a topwater the way they're acting. But generally the same areas, maybe out a little bit, not a ton. Here's one right here, Wes. But I really like barren sand.
Z, we have had the most questions I've ever seen on Z Live, just so you know. So we'll try to get to a couple in the last hour for sure.
These ain't the ones I'm after though, bud. These are all new ones. I gotta get to in front of us. Man. You can go ahead, Ron. I'm good.
I can't remember who asked this. I've just seen so many questions. I'm having flashbacks to all of them. But what temperature? When
it's all running together, Ron. I'm not gonna pick up a sexy frog for smallmouth. That's not my game.
No, not today, but just in general in Michigan when the water temp. You know what are you looking at?
In general. Oh, bud, it's 60 degrees. Right before they spawn, right after. I mean, we're within, gosh, man, we're within like a week and a half of that up in these parts. Most of the country's there right now. I mean, I've been seeing posts online of folks catching them already on it. Hard to see, Wes. Uh-oh, I see one right here. Here we go. I can't see the fish. I'm just kind of blind sight fishing right now, Ron. I'm just throwing where I know one's dusted.
You're a huge tube guy and a huge jig guy. We had two different questions, one from Dan Weber and one from Jesse Wells. Do you ever add a rattle to your jig or to your tube when you're working them?
You know, I'll add a rattle. I'll add a rattle when I'm in really, you know, stained or dirty water. But I'd say, oh my gosh, look at that one. You see it? See the halo around it? I would say 80% of the time, Ron, 80% of the time, I won't put a rattle on it. Boy, that sticks out like a sore thumb.
So did you mention what situations you do for those 20%?
Yeah, it is really only when I've got stain.
Stain.
That's not a big one. It's just a little fiddler elf. Huh. I don't know. I don't want to spend a lot of time on these. If I got color in the water, I'll definitely go to a rattle.
James Lambden wants to know, what's your favorite technique during the mayfly hatch? Do you guys have a mayfly hatch in Michigan, or is it just down south?
Ooh. Favorite technique during a mayfly hatch? Bud, that is the best time to throw a sexy dog on planet Earth, period. The fish are high in the column. They're really high in the column. Here we go, here we go, here we go. There's a bunch. But a topwater bait, I think, is one of the best things to do during a fly hatch. Gosh, I can't see good. I'm just kind of throwing where I'm seeing bright spots. Ronnie, you can keep going while I'm kind of just going through some areas until I see one that's worthy of.
When it comes to
I just
a
don't want to
menace,
spend time on a bunch of little guys.
when it comes to a menace as a trailer Z, oftentimes we think about rigging it with the flappers horizontal, but do you ever experiment with rigging them vertically? And if so, when would you choose that one over the other?
A little bit, I do. Actually, when I want it to have just a real subtle vibration, I'll rig it horizontal. You know, I would say probably 80% of the time I've got it flat, like, you know, just kind of like a crawdad trailer. But if the water's cold, to me, if the water's cold, that shows how hard those pencil reeds are. If the water's really cold, yeah, here we go. They're coming up now. Up here's where it's going to go. If the water's really cold, I'll do it horizontal, and it'll just put off a little brrrr, but the majority of the time I just got it laid flat like that, where it's flat with the hook, kind of like a little crawdad.
It's a question from myself in studio. Are we going to break the 100-pound mark at some point this season? And will we maybe break 100 pounds for smallmouth for the first time in the history of bass fishing?
My friend, Keith Combs, believes we will actually hit the 100-pound mark at Fork in, when is that, in November?
Yeah, it's like the 3rd through the 6th, I think.
He totally believes we'll hit it then. Yep. He actually brought that up when we were fishing the other day. Little guy. Not worthy. Not worthy. Let's keep going. Let's keep hunting. Ronnie, I'm looking for a show ender for you, buddy.
I want you to go catch that 8 you said. I've never seen an 8. We've had some folks ask multiple different guys, but this guy, Scott Geist from your Facebook, said, do you find that rigging swim baits for a drop shot works well? And then also someone else asked, do you ever wacky rig your bait on a drop shot? So swim bait on a drop shot, wacky rig drop shot. Do you experiment those?
I don't. I really don't. You know, and maybe that's. I should, but I don't put a swim bait on a drop shot very often. But I do wacky rig baits a ton on my drop shots. Like I wacky rig a fat baby finesse worm a lot in the summertime. One of the things that I think that it offers. See, you get on these deeper beds right here. This is where nastiness can go down. Gosh, I don't see him, Wes. Stay hooked. Little, gosh, I thought that was him. One of these is going to be the ones, because I saw him here yesterday.
Z, you're talking about show enders. We got 40 minutes. You're going to still catch 21 fish, so you're fine. We got time.
Right. The greed factors come in, Ron.
We don't want this to end. Don't talk about ending yet.
But we're on an area, this lake that I thought had the potential, from what I saw yesterday, I thought had the potential for a couple really big ones. My problem is there's just enough ripple on the water that it's kind of a pain. But it's doable. All I need to see is one log sitting in a bed.
I've I've been kind of saving this one for a little bit of a downtime, and since you've only caught 5 in the last 10 minutes, it's kind of downtime. But John Holtz wanted to know, one of the biggest things in bass fishing is the pre-fish factor versus the tournament. He says he feels like he pre-fishes fantastic, and then the tournament doesn't go well. That is a big adjustment for anglers. What do you say alleviates, you know, sometimes a good pre-fish and how you execute on that in a tournament?
Gosh, you know, one of the things, and this is back when I fished a bunch of derbies, and I fished a pile of them growing up, was don't, and it's hard to do. It's easier said than done, but don't live by what you learn in practice. Don't be like, wow, I caught them here 2 days ago, doggone it, they're gonna be here. Don't live by that. Live way more by the conditions that you're faced. And like I said, that's easier said than done, because you're like, you say to yourself, you're like, wow, I caught 17 to 20 pounds here a day or two ago. It's hard not to go back to it. But the other thing is, and this is something that Vandy and I used to fish, a gazillion tournaments together. One of the things we would live by is make a big lake small, okay? We fished a lot of lakes growing up together that are, St. Clair's and Erie's and stuff like that, to where they're monsters. They're huge lakes. One of the things you don't want to do is spread yourself too thin to where all you're doing, you're behind. I got in trouble at Champlain years and years and years ago. The first time I fished it is where I got in trouble is I had fish at Ticonderoga, I had fish in Missisquoi, I'd fish in the inland sea, and then I just found myself like second guessing. I'd drive somewhere for an hour and be like, I don't need to be here. He made the right movement. Is try to make, a core area, and then find little scraps around it that can bail you out if you need 1 or 2 fish. Don't say I got, I have a ton of fish. I got a ton of fish found, but I got a 1 fish spot 15 miles away. Find those 1 or 2 fish spots. I always say what you really want to do is have like a main course area and then appetizers close to it. And that's how I always kind of approach practice, from trial and error. But what's funny is I approach a live the same way, is I try to find a lake that I can contain. Doing a Zona live is not, that's not one we want. Doing a Zona live, you can't go to like Kentucky Lake or Gunnersville and just say, hey, we're gonna go run the ledges, and just run around 10 miles to 10 miles to 10 miles. That's very similar to what I'm talking about with practicing. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. Have condensed areas where you can do multiple different things. Gosh, Wes, they're gone. I'm blown away, but they are gone, buddy.
It was a great practice
coming,
answer
actually.
there, Z. That was very
Thank
good
you.
for the fans at home.
Oh. Gotcha. Boat, stop, boat. Biggin. Let him settle. You see him? That's a biggin. He's right off 11 o'clock. Gosh, I came up on him too fast. Come on, settle back in. That's a big fish, man. A lot of times you could actually draw them in with your bait. He's coming back. He's right there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like how he's acting right now. Here we go. 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 Come on, eat the bait. Eat the bait, eat the bait. He's comfortable now. He's comfortable. I got to get him to turn the other direction. I think it's a good one. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, 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 he did something squirrely, didn't he?
What color is this?
I'm throwing I'm actually throwing a little Ned head, Trokar Ned head with a baby Z2. He just chased something. Oh, he's got a female. I don't like that. I don't like when they get paired like that and start running each other. Let's see if he settles back in. Gosh, it's a good one. There's another bed right out there. See how far that fish is roaming now? He's way off the left side. That's not good. That's a bad deal. Like he's roaming to another bed, to another bed. That question we had earlier, when do you, like you could squat on that fish for a while until he settles in somewhere and you'll probably catch him. He's following me right there. He's right on the bait. The bait's not even close to a bed. No, we don't want to mess with him.
Z Luke on Facebook wants to know, Luke Lovrek, sorry, I wrecked your last name. He asked,
You're good.
You have beds on Humminbird 360. What are your range settings to help you avoid spooking them so that you can see them, but not too far away, but not too close?
That is an awesome question. I really goofed with that the last few days. I put it to about 48 feet to where I could kind of mark those beds at the probably like halfway out of my clock, my dial. I don't want it too far out. I don't want it too far out there, you know, to like 80 to 100 feet. But if it seems like right around that 40 to 50 feet is perfect for Mega 360. Like it literally shows the fish squatting in the middle of the bed.
That's one thing I struggle with.
Ronnie, you can keep going. I'm going to keep this on high for.
That's one thing I struggle with is literally knowing how far I'm casting when you're trying to pinpoint a ring that's 40 feet out. Until you actually hit one on the bed and catch it, it's hard to sometimes judge how far you're actually casting compared to the rings that you're seeing. So that's a good question from Luke.
if I'm actually casting, you know, and I really learned a lot of this from Polinick, is I'll tend to use it more of that 60 to 80 feet out. But when I'm close range like this, I've only got it to like 40 to 50 feet, and it's amazing how defined, you know, I mean, if you're seeing a bass in a bed, that's staggering.
Z, what are the biggest predators to these bass beds that you're on right now? This given lake, obviously, other lakes might have gobies, but what are the small bait fish that are going to maybe mess with smallmouth on this lake?
Oh, you know, they really. EK and I talked about it. We talked about it earlier today. Gosh, little guy. We talked about it earlier today. This lake that we're on right here, like there's a boat launching right there right now, is better than I've seen this lake, you know, 15 years ago. It's better than it was, to where it tells me they don't, Ronnie, in all honesty, they don't have a lot of predators. You know, I've seen, this is actually a lake that has goby in it. It just got goby in the last few years. And I've looked at smallies on beds shoveling gobies off of their beds, where I really don't think that there is a predator that bothers their beds. You know, you might get a perch here or there that's going to swim through, but he's going to have a bad day if he does that.
What's your thoughts on the moon and the spawn? This one's from Chris Flay on your Facebook.
What's my thoughts on the moon and the spawn? Not as much as important. I mean, it matters, but to me, not as important as the lights on. The lights have to be on. You need sunlight. Oh, he's not one we want, Wes. Sunlight is the #1 most critical factor bed fishing at any time. #1. Like I would tell you that if it was cloudy, we would still catch them, but not at this rate. They'll still pin down, but they get loose. They get really loose, and they'll tend to roam a little bit more to where they're not completely locked on. Uh-oh. Gosh, I can't tell how big he is. I saw his tail. There he is. Nice one.
Z, we've got some food people are thinking about cooking up this weekend. Do you land this fish?
That's what that's what I've been waiting for, Ron. And Ron, I'm not going to lie, I am a foodie. I really am. Whoo.
What makes you tick? Before we tell you what others are eating, what is your prime Memorial Day meal?
Yeah, I'm big into smoked sausage. I'm really big. That's a good one. Look at the size of his tail. I'm really big into smoked sausage over Memorial Day weekend. Hot dogs, you know, the typical stuff. But I'm not scared. I'm not scared to social distance with my neighbors and do bone-in ribeye. You know, note to the scorpion.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Shea Barber said he's headed to the Ozarks, brats, burgers, and hopefully all the crappie they can stand. And then we've got somebody with the username It's Alfie cooking up a whole red snapper, pecanaha steak. I don't know if I said that right. Homemade salsa. Come on down to SoFlo.
I'll tell you dead straight, Ron. I really believe as soon as we get done with live, we got a gorgeous Zona show shot with combs. I think it's going to be a pontoon evening, if you know what I mean. Like I see it coming.
So this is a question for
me. Hey man,
me.
It's 11:36. Let's
go ahead.
Let's go catch that big one. I'm going to fish right here, Ron, and I'm going to run back and try to catch that big one before we end.
Thank you. So from me, I want to know what the adjustment is for northern anglers coming south for techniques like, or conditions like the shad spawn, things that they do not experience in Minnesota. I don't know if that goes on in Michigan, but a shad spawn bite. How much of an adjustment, if somebody goes to a lake down south, they have no idea what you're talking about when the shad spawn bite's going on. So understanding that with limited experience when you first hit the national scene.
Gosh, I think that, you know, I think that comes with goes back to what I was saying. That's time on water. You know, we don't experience stuff like that. We don't experience, you know, ledge fishing and things like that. And it really, you know, you look at Seth Feider's career. You know, Seth took some lumps, some pretty bad lumps the first couple years, till he got to. It's like reading a defense. You know, you might get clocked for a year or two, but after you get that experience down, you're there. There is zero. You can't. You just have to have experience. And you know, when I first started going down south, even when when I really started first covering the Elite Series, I would get, you know, back when we would do bass cams. Remember those, Wes? Boy, you hated those. I'd get in the back of guys' boats where I'm like, how do you know that stuff? And it made me appreciate the Elite Series even more. Hey, Ronnie, we're going to run really fast down here to where I lost that big one.
I guess we can roll maybe the catches that you had. We haven't even seen yet from the morning.
Let's do it, buddy.
Well, if you guys are, we're not going to commercial break. We're going to see what Z's done before the show happened, probably. He's going to make a quick run with the big motor. Make sure you send in the last 20 minutes, hashtag Zona Live, hashtag sweepstakes on Facebook and Twitter. Get your questions in. You don't have to have them answered to win a prize pack, but plenty of Trokar goodies to give away. Zona's going to give other things away from his sponsors, tackle that he's used today out on the water, and then also his own prize packs with some Zona apparel and goodies. So Z's going to make a move. We're going to watch some of the action from today if you're just joining us for this last 20-minute stretch before we end Zona Live. So this is what we're about to roll, what he's the onslaught he's put on today.
It is going to be a magical, magical day. Good to be back doing lives. Hi there. Look at him. Look at him. Whew. Right? Look here. See the whole gig that we've had going on up here is these fish should have been spawning. These fish should have been spawning a week ago. Just the start. Just the start. All the stars have lined up. Oh my gosh. What? Look at that bass. Got him, didn't you? That's what you wanted. And the thing is, when we go live, we have so many bigger ones. Wes, I'd like to go over one of these beds right here. walk over one of these beds so we can just show you exactly what it looks like in the sun, okay? Golly, what a hold up right there. Hold up right there. Yeah. Snap, snap. Always go to the back side. Back side. He's looking at me. Oh, charging me. Oh, he's gonna eat it again. That was awesome. That was awesome. So great. That was so great. Right on. That's a really cool gig. Biggin. Biggin. To where I think it's going to be a game changer is we have a lot of beds, you know, lakes. There he is. Biggin, biggin, biggin. How about that one right there, dog? Right? Biggin. Oh my gosh. Doop. Yeah. Stay hooked. Wow. Wow. I mean, come on, man. Okay, here we go. Last few minutes of Zona Live presented by Trokar. I want to thank everybody that's watched, and we'll go through that here in a little bit. It's definitely been a weird few months in the country, and to get back fishing and doing what we do. Good to be back on the water. Okay, we are setting back up on a big one that I spied a little bit earlier, and we're going to try to close the deal for young Ronnie right here. Okay. Like I said, my whole setup, I'll go through this real quick. My whole setup is I've got 15-pound smackdown braid in flash green to an 8-pound Abrazex leader. Little number 2 drop shot hook right there. And a DAIWA reel and a Tatula drop shot rod. There he is. Oh my gosh. Boy, he is a mamba, isn't he? Right? He'll go again. Whoo, look at him. You good, Wes? Okay. Gosh, that's a dandy. Go way past the bed. Tap it in. Uh-oh. Oh, what was that? Got him. Look at him. Oh, wow. That is so great. And that fish, like right there, we let that fish rest for like 20 minutes, where I really think we could have probably caught him 5 minutes after we had him. That right there is brown and gold. That is a big one. I mean, dead one's dead right there. Roll tide. Stay hooked. Stay hooked. Stay hooked. Stay hooked. Stay hooked. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come back this way. Come back this way. Hi there. Hi there. Hi there. Oh! My gosh. That is a biggin. That's an old fish right there. That is an old fish. Look at that top dead center. Doop. Uh-huh. How about that? Beautiful. Uh-huh. Gosh, that's like a 21-inch bass. All righty. Ronnie, go ahead. We got a few minutes. And Ronnie, we're giving a lot of stuff away. We're giving Trokar stuff away. We're going to give some Strike King stuff away. A few more questions, friend.
Well, see, one thing that's good about me not being there with you is the fact that I would have tried to convince you to save that one for me, like actually let me catch it after the show. So that's a benefit for the fans that I wasn't there in person, you know?
Ronnie, during our commercial break, Wes and Eric said, Z, are you leaving right when we're done? I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been up here a long while. There's a bunch up in this northeast corner. We're going to run really fast to one fish. One fish. Ronnie, hold the fork down for me.
I will do that. Hey, think about it, Z. While you're making the run, think about who would you put in your top 5 all time for bass fishing. They've been talking about that. Who's the GOAT of basketball with The Last Dance? Think about that, and we'll get your question and answer on that one. So like Z said, he's going to make a quick move going to one fish for the last 10 minutes. Obviously, he just capitalized on that big one right there. It's amazing the smallmouth beat down that he's put on and how he actually hooked that fish earlier in the day, gave it about 30 to 40 minutes to rest, came back, and it was a one-cast fish. Caught that big one right there. So if you're just joining us for Zona Live, you missed out on a bunch, but you should still see some good stuff in the last 15 minutes of Zona Live today. Send in your questions, hashtag Zona Live, hashtag sweepstakes on Twitter and both Facebook pages, Bassmasters and Zona's Awesome Fishing Show. That'll get you entered to win. You don't have to have your questions answered. Like Z said, we're going to give away a lot of Trokar prize packs, some Strike King. He may throw some line in there. Definitely some Zona apparel as well. So it's been a great 3 hours. Hey, this is our first Bassmaster live fishing broadcast that we've had basically since the Live on the Lake with Stetson and Jamie in April. So we're excited. If you didn't know, we did announce the revised Elite Series schedule going forward. So our next event will be June 10th through the 13th, Lake Eufaula, kicking off the rest of the season. And we will do the full season in its entirety. We have 8 Elite Series events left in store. And if you did not hear yesterday's announcement, the Opens, the Bassmaster Opens, the pathway to get to the Elites and the Classic, we have Bassmaster Live coming for those on the final day. You'll be able to witness the best semi-pro anglers in the world duking it out for Classic spots, wins, top 10s, and obviously points that'll work towards an Elite Series qualification. So a lot in store for the 2020 Bassmaster season. We will have, like we said, all the Elites live. The final day of the Opens, there's 7 Opens left this season live. Another week's worth of viewing for you. We'll have all of our nation team tournaments, college and high school events also filling out the rest of the year. A little bit of revision, but I'm proud of the Bassmaster staff putting together the schedule. And so as Zona's finishing up his quick move to where he's at on the lake, he is in Michigan fishing for spawning smallmouth, and he has put on a show today. I couldn't imagine a better place to be other than with Zona than to watch it all go down in studio. So send in your questions. The last 10 minutes, you will get to see some awesomeness.
I lost all audio.
From Zona.
Okay. All right, gang. A few more minutes here real quick. We're going to end it up in this corner. All right, so for everybody that's hung with us throughout the last few hours, I hope you enjoyed this. We talked about it earlier. I think we got a couple 10 minutes left. Please join us the next few weeks, in a few weeks, for Bassmaster Live and our next event. Wes, where is our next? Oh, Eufaula. Oh, there are so, look at all these. Doom, 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 doom. It's going to get ugly the last 10 minutes. So what I was going to say is, if you get to do this, if you ever get the opportunity to do this, it is some of the most fun fishing you could ever experience in your lifetime. Reeds are magical. Just magical. Just a nice one. But one of the things that you experience with this, like where we're at right here, is, you know how bluegill spawn in clusters where they're like honeycomb, where it's do. Like where I'm sitting right here, I'm looking at like 12 more that size. Ah, yes, yes. He's a little better than I thought, Wesley. Oh yeah, oh yeah, uh-huh. Just for Ronnie, tell him I hate to say it, but I lost my audio while we were running across, so I'm running solo, bud. I'm running solo. Hold on. Okay. Not good, okay. And get you, if you can get a handful of these right here, Siren half shell, little Trokar drop shot hook. Honestly, you really don't need anything else. That's like the only gig you need to catch these. Okay, let me set up. There's 2, right? I'm staring at 3. And all I'm looking at now is I'm looking at turquoise spots. Like I can't see fish, but I guarantee you, like every one of these are stuck because of time of day. Like I guarantee you there's one right there. Come on. Hey. Just a little last minute shot. I can't see him. But see how where they spawn in clusters? One there, one there, one there. Oh yeah. I see you. It's gonna be the last one of the day, I believe. Gosh, dog it. Last one of the day. Maybe not, there's one right there too. Oh, he spun. Saw his tail. Gosh! I lost him. Lost my whole gig right there. Dude, he's still on. Hold on. This is a mess.
Oh, yes.
Hey. What a disaster of an ending,
Always.
right? What a disaster. Total mess. Hot mess. Everything was going good till that. Everything. Ronnie loved that right there. Way to go, Z. Gosh. You're gonna. That is a joke. I try not to suck, Ron. I try.
Even when you're not catching them, you're entertaining the fans, Z.
Yeah. Five minutes left, okay. Oh, this has been fun. This has been a fun live. It is rare you can hit them like this. Man, I don't want to stop. I want to go like another hour. gonna be the last one right here. Huge thanks to everybody at Bassmaster.com, Jim Sexton, the whole gang. Huge thanks to everybody, JM Associates, Wes, EK, Vandy, Ronnie, Middleton, the Scorpion Woman, Karen. Most of all, Trokar for letting us come out and do this. It was a fun day. Well, he's there. He's there, and he's he's sassy. He's sassy. Gosh, I don't want to stop. He's there. Bit it. Hurry up, offense. There he goes. No good. I bumped him. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, he drove back through. Got him. Good. That's the end of the show. That's it. Get these guys right here. Get these guys right here. Wes, EK, Vandy, y'all are going to pound them the next 3 hours, aren't you? I love you guys. Thank you again. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great Memorial. I mean, that's a daggum good one right there. Have a great Memorial Day. See you on the next Zona Live. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, stud. Thanks, Ronnie. See you.